there's undue emphasis on manifesto, as if the electorate has ever recalled a president or a governor for not following the manifesto he read.
Right. So people are asking, okay, they say that the Labour Party has no clear-cut manifesto. I don't know how exactly true this is. So I would want to ask you, has the Labour Party in Enugu State come out with a clear-cut manifesto? Because I stumbled something some weeks back on development plan of what Labour Party has. So, but I want to ask you directly, do you have a clear-cut manifesto? And if you have, can you just, in a brief points, highlight them?
The presidential candidate of our party has published his manifesto. Okay. But you know that in Enugu State, even in Nigeria, there's undue emphasis on manifesto, as if the electorate has ever recalled a president or a governor for not following the manifesto he read. As if they ever raised the question in the National Assembly, the president, look at the manifesto of your party. Why are you not following it? APC gave us a manifesto of restructuring, of state police, of devolution of power. When the president began to retract from those things, who has done anything to him? So there's a puzzle or a dean in Enugu State around manifesto. The government of Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, which manifesto is he executing? The one that he read, who has the copy of it now? Of course, if you are running for a governor, and you have corporate experience and you have prepared over time, you must have a manifesto. You must have an idea, a sense. Manifesto is a copy of a written down copy of what you want to do. Yes. Who doesn't have it? Who doesn't have it? So the issue of manifesto, of course I have a manifesto. What is really propelled me, as I've told you, it's good. The urgent need to fill the gaps in service delivery. I have a manifesto which I have titled Enugu's Place in the Southeast Renaissance. Revitalizing Enugu State with Southeast as a takeoff point. The Renaissance of the Southeast with Enugu as a takeoff point. So you have to rebuild Enugu State in terms of infrastructure. The roads are dilapidated. So if you are saying manifesto, the manifesto is there already, writ large. The roads are broken. The educational systems are broken. I have a magazine, the magazine you gave to me, where you're saying, written about what you are going to do with regards to education. The primary schools in a chaos. There's absolute disorder in the primary school system in Enugu State. Absolute disorder. Even in the planning, even in the position of the houses, even in the structure of the buildings, even the attendance to school by teachers, even the number of pupils, even in the location of schools, primary schools. You see that 3 or 4 primary schools are in one street in most of the villages, one on the left, one on the right. So there's absolute disorder in the primary school system. There's absolute chaos in the health system, national health system arrangement in all the wards in Enugu State. You see the buildings, but those buildings are decadent. You see national health buildings in all the wards in Enugu State, but there's not one single of them that is not an eyesore. They're overgrown with grasses, they are dirty, they are locked up most of the time, there's no light most of the time, the nurses are not there most of the time. So the work to be done is staring in the face regards to the primary schools, regards to healthcare system, but because we are going to really revitalize those, reorganize, re-equip, re-strategize, revamp the healthcare system at the rural areas, make them relevant, make them impactful, really, the lives of people, because those buildings are there, the structure is there, but there's no light. So we can get around the issue of light by putting in solar panels all over everywhere. We can revamp the environment. We can make sure that they're all overgrown. Take a trip to any rural health center. There is none that is overgrown. There is none that don't have cassava planted there. There is none you go there and you see a nurse or a doctor or any staff. So we are going to make sure that those people go back to work. Yeah, so there is plenty of. So when the people say manifesto is writ large. It's writ large in the lacks of water in Enugu State. The manifesto is writ large.
I think why people are interested in manifesto is it's not as if the people don't know that these are the problems.
Yes.
And manifesto is what you want to do.
Yes.
Written down of what you want to do. But people want to know, what are the roadmaps? What are the concrete steps we want to take? How credible are they? People want to know. If you say, okay, I'm going to provide water for Enugu State, what are the steps?
I'll tell you the step right away. I'll tell you, they are practicable. They are practicable. Enugu State has issue of water because there's a sole dependence on Ajale. Ajale has been there forever, since 1960 or thereabout. Enugu State depends only on Ajale as a source of water. The pipe water from Ajale, these pipes are subject to several kinds of degradations and destructions, either from road construction or new development, whatever. That source of supply is no longer enough. Who was that diversified? So how do you diversify? We are going to capture. There are rivers in Enugu State. Enugu State has abundance of rivers. Underground there is coal, so even getting water underground is not quite an easy thing to do. Yeah. So we are going to focus on those rivers. Those rivers must be captured and reticulated, captured, treated, and the community is reticulated through from water. So we are going to decentralize water supply system. We are going to decentralize it. There are several rivers. There's a Kulu and several other bodies of waters in Enugu State. Many of them are even being destroyed by the way approvals of houses are granted close to the edges of the water. In Emene there is water. The GRA here there is water. There are bodies of water. So those bodies of water must be protected and harnessed and treated, and the supply must be localized. Okay. So the water in your own area will serve your own area. Okay. That's what we're going to do.
So you're talking about decentralizing the water supply.
Yes. We're going to decentralize water supply. We're going to decentralize. We are going to. So there is not a single area. You can ask. There is not a single area of our public life that we don't have the solutions to. We don't have answers to. And these things are practicable. There is waste everywhere. Enugu has become the waste capital of Southeast. But those wastes are also veritable source of wealth. Waste to wealth is now an international mantra. But what are we doing about it? We are burning our own. No, we are not going to do that. We are going to make sure that we work with our unemployed young people to make sure that those wastes become actually waste to wealth. We are going to create hubs. There are small machines. There are several machines at cost as low as 2 million naira that will mash cartons, that will mash plastic bottles. So waste to wealth will become just from mantra to actual, because we are going to create hubs for our young people. Several hubs in several local governments where we are going to support them with machines, support them with light infrastructure, and encourage waste collection. Make waste collection not as ugly as it looks, as cheap as it looks, but it will be of a sustainable lifestyle. And it's a part of the efforts of our people to fight the degradations of the environment. Right. So there is not a single area of our state problem that we cannot do differently. We are going to tackle unemployment by gradual and incremental activities. We are going to open up rural roads. It must not be laterite, but open up rural roads so the local economy will come up again. We are going to rejig the security infrastructure. There's a forest guard. The forest guards as they are now are composed of people who should be in forest guards. Because I was there. That's the benefit of experience. I was there when the idea of a forest guard was conceived by the governor. But he also insisted that people who must occupy these forest guards or people these forest guards are people who have relevant experience as palm wine tappers, as hosters, as men who do things in the forest, so that they can provide relevant information, relevant intelligence, relevant navigation into the necessary forest. But in decomposing them, the so-called leaders, stakeholders began to populate that thing with relations and friends and brothers. Really? Some of them outside it. So I'm going to, if you conceive a policy, if you make up a policy or agree to do a policy, you must be rigorous in implementing it. That's why I say the character is important. You must not be a pleaser. The governor is not a pleaser. Not a pleaser. So we have a state architecture of security that is good, but it's not working. And I know why it's not working. The vigilante is not working. So we are going to rejig our vigilante. We are going to professionalize it. We are going to reorientate it. We are going to give their work sustainable. So we are going to create a professional, like we have the Civil Service Commission, the Local Government Service Commission. We are going to have a commission that looks at our vigilante, our community police system, whatever it is, that gives them a sustainable employment, sustainable engagement, just like the police. So it's not, they don't come and serve at the whims and caprices of the chairman, and you must not necessarily operate in your community. Because the danger of having vigilante operate in the immediate community is that of nepotism. Yeah. So you have them protecting criminals. You have them being afraid of exposing criminals because they are their in-laws, they are their brothers, they are their sisters, and they live in the same environment. So if you ask them to go and arrest someone, they will refuse. They will tip them off. So the thing must be rethought in such a way that apprehension, arrest must come from above, and then you train them and retrain them so that information gathering, arrest, apprehension, they almost have the vitality of maybe Nigerian police when they are properly trained. So we are going to provide accommodation, but there's no accommodation for them anywhere. There's no office anywhere. Office gives you a sense of location. We have to give them an office. We are going to give them proper training. Bring retired police officers who are good men of what to train and retrain them, so that their mindset will be rejigged.
So you believe that this can tackle the security problems?
Yes.
Having in it here?
In the villages, in the states, yes. Why not? If you rejig, re-strategize, retrain the existing vigilante, give them a sense that their work is secure,
and properly pay them.
They will do the work that the police is not doing. And then, if you cannot punish or the Nigerian police, we can police our own vigilantes when they err. If the Nigerian police makes it a habit of operating on the main road 247, our own vigilantes should not be operating on the main road. Because if the villages are properly secured in terms of intelligence, in terms of oversight, crime will reduce. You nip them in the bud. So what is everybody lying up in the street, blocking the roads with woods and all kinds of dirty items that gives a sense that we're very backward people. Every other mile, every other kilometer, you see woods used to block federal highways, ambush of some sort. What has that got to do with proper policing? Proper policing is preemption. Preemption is important. Intelligence is important.
Being proactive.
That's preemption. Preemption is important. Prevention comes much easier, but preemption is important. If you preempt, then all these things will reduce. You know what I mean? Yes, so we are going to make sure that these values will bring to bear on governance across the boards. Teachers must go to school. What has the teacher got to do with coming to Upper Square to clap for the governor on Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays, on Fridays? Do you understand? Even the clergy will come to help. Because why do you conduct your burials on Fridays if you want a good society? Why?
So you suggest better should be pushed to Saturdays? No,
I'm just asking you. If you want a good society, Fridays are official days for school, for government work. Why do you conduct your burials? Who are you condemning it for? If you're not part of the problem. I'm not talking about any particular, but everybody.
I know.
So I'm not talking directly at you. I'm talking as a society. Sure. Even the governor, even the schools that approve it. So we are going to bring a new mindset. That's part of why I'm being fought. They know what I represent. Those who work with me know the energy that I represent. They know that I'm a force for good. So all this ganging up you see against me, people who are not candidates, putting posters, putting billboards, and government pretending not to see it, is an elaborate gang up against the man who is poised to bring change and order in Enugu State.